Aw, animals.
Loyal dog waits for lost owner after landslide buries village. More than 90 people remain missing following a devastating landslide that has rocked a Chinese village. On the morning of June 24th, heavy rain sent rocks tumbling down on villagers in Maoxian County. The Chinese government has deployed roughly 3,000 workers to locate the injured and the deceased. One rescuer in particular has been dogged in his attempts to see his family again. This little dog, sitting atop a pile of rubble in Xinmo village, likely waiting for his missing owner. Dogs were a big part of the rescue efforts this weekend. Some were sent by wire across raging rivers, while others were carried by fire crews trekking up boulders, looking to sniff out survivors. This dog's efforts were so intense, he reportedly collapsed from exhaustion. While rescue workers continue to search to find the dog's owner and the others trapped, hopes fade with each passing minute. Sichuan province is a known earthquake zone, an 8.0 magnitude tremor in 2008 having resulted in close to 70,000 deaths.
Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews.
Through thick and thin, dogs are known to stand by a friend.
Abandoned dog waits for 2 years for owner to come back. The 2009 Hollywood drama Hachi, A Dog's Tale, starring Richard Gere, follows the true story of a remarkable faithful Japanese Akita that dutifully waited at a train station for its owner to return long after his death. A similar but more heart-rendering display of the devotion shown by man's best friend happened recently in the southern Taiwanese city of Kaohsiung. He was abandoned on a rainy day, so whenever it rains, he would come back and wait for his owner to come pick him up. According to witnesses, a middle-aged motorcyclist abandoned a dog named Xiaohuang along a road divider 2 years ago. The dog reportedly chased after its owner as he rode away, but was beaten back and forcefully told to stand still before being left to fend for itself. The poor creature even dug a 90-centimeter wide hole in the ground as a makeshift shelter. At one point, Xiaohuang apparently caught sight of a motorcyclist that looked like his former owner and chased after him, but ended up breaking one of his legs. It was only after 2 years on June 25th that the city's association in charge of aiding stray animals was able to come and finally save the abandoned dog. Reluctant to leave, it took nearly 4 hours and a tranquilizer to get Xiaohuang to a clinic. Vets are currently treating him for heartworm and are fixing up a bone fracture in his left hind leg. I pity the poor dog, abandoned by a jerk. This is very sad.
The story of this loyal dog could very well make you cry. Dogs are called man's best friend, and the story of this German Shepherd shows why. We don't know the dog's name, but we know he lived in Houston, Texas, with his human friend, 54-year-old Hatem Abu Harbid, who worked as a clerk at the KB convenience store. On the night of February 7, 2016, Abu Harbid was shot to death during a robbery at the store. Obviously, it's impossible to explain to a dog that his friend and guardian is never coming home. For about 2 weeks, this loyal animal stood in front of Abu Harbid's home, dutifully waiting. When cars drove into the apartment complex near Hobby Airport, the dog would run down and check to see who was inside, before sadly returning to his second-floor porch landing, where he just kept waiting. Neighbors said they tried to leave food and water for the poor creature, but he refused to budge. He wanted his person and no one else. Finally, Good Samaritan Miranda Perez had an idea. She'd use her dog to help slowly gain the German Shepherd's trust. Then maybe the loyal animal could be coaxed into eating something. It worked, but it still took a few hours of gentle tries before the shaking animal allowed Perez to put a leash around his neck. Then came time to leave the stairwell and get into Perez's car. As the dog hopped into the vehicle, is it possible he knew he was letting go? Perez will keep the orphaned animal for the next week, after which Abu Harbid's brother plans to adopt him. If you're drying your eyes now, you get it. You understand why there's a statue of a dog in one of Tokyo's busiest intersections, and you felt that special dog-human connection that dates back so many thousand years. Good doggy. Good boy. Loyal dog protects injured doggy friend on snowy train track for 2 days. An injured dog that was stranded on snowy train tracks near Uzhhorod in Ukraine was watched over by her loyal friend for 2 days until help arrived. Local resident Denis Mulafiev found the 2 dogs named Lucy and Panda on December 26th. Panda became cautious when the dogs were approached. Mulefayev said on Facebook that Panda took care of Lucy by curling up next to her. Both of them would press themselves against the tracks when trains passed over them. Mulefayev said Panda took care of Lucy and never abandoned her during their 2 days on the train tracks. The dogs were taken to an animal protection center, where Lucy received medical attention. Thankfully, according to Mulefayev, she only sustained bruises and hematomas. So it's not exactly clear why the dogs stayed on the tracks. The Animal Protection Center found the dogs' owners, and the doggies were returned to them. In a recent Facebook update, Mulefayev noted that not all people would do what Panda did for Lucy. Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews.
Loyal dog tries to revive friend run over by car. If you think you're a loyal friend, this dog in China may bring you to shame. On April 17th, after bearing witness to his friend being struck by a vehicle on a busy city street in Zhejiang, the faithful pooch did everything he could to wake his fallen pal. As this tragic video clip shows, the dog tries feverishly to jolt his friend to life. He looks around to see if anyone else might come to their aid, but sadly, no one does. Not knowing what else to do, as cars continue to drive by and honk, he stands and waits in the freezing rain, unwilling to leave his friend's side. After waiting in the wet street for half an hour, the dog's owner finally comes by to drag the injured pooch to the side of the road. She calls for help, but it appears to be too late. Though a tearful goodbye, we can only hope to have such a friend by our side to the very end.